If you're looking to land on a specific fighter subclass, but just aren't sure which one to pick, never fear, I'm here to play matchmaker. By the end of this video, you'll know the strengths, weaknesses, and standout abilities of each of the subclasses. And finally, of course, I'll be passing along a free gift just for you. Hi everyone, who's Willowares? It's me, I'm Willowares. And today we're going to be talking about the factually most played class of D&D, Fighter. Also, a quick note that this video was made possible thanks to support from my patrons. No ad read, just a bunch of thanks. Wow, everybody in the comments say thank you, patrons, who are only NASA science lawyers with really nice clothes. Fighters are the best entry class into D&D, but don't let that fool you. The subclasses are surprisingly varied, bringing in a level of complexity for what would otherwise be big guy, big sword, little problems. But which one should you pick? Let's dive right into it. The Cavalier, the horse girl subclass. My thing about the Cavalier fighter subclass that might not be super apparent just from the class fantasy description alone is that you really need another person frontlining with you. This isn't just because you look silly prancing about on your horsey alone, but also because your level 3 and 7 features, which heavily lean on the bad guy wanting to target someone else very close to you. For example, Unwavering Mark. You hit the creature, your barbarian is also hitting the creature, perhaps for a bit more damage, so the creature targets your barbarian. Great, because you've marked them, they now have disadvantage on that roll, and you get a cool special attack right back at them. However, if you're gonna go up there by yourself and smack the monster is usually gonna just smack you right back. I think there's some truly interesting class fantasy here though. Do you want to play a general, or maybe you've obtained some mysterious mystical steed? There's some really cool homebrew subclasses lurking around in the Cavalier features, I can just feel it. Maybe one day. Next up, we have the Samurai. Get in, Samurai. Get in the... What does he say? What does Johnny Silverhand say? Samurai, it's time to get up. You're late for school. Samurai, did you pay your child support? Xanathar's Guide to Everything gave us the most recent version of this subclass. However, Samurai has popped up a few times in D&D's history. I think thematically this subclass gets everything right. Strength Before Death, for example, reminds me of so many epic moments in film where the samurai, though facing certain doom, fights on. Fighting Spirit gives you advantage on attacks and temp HP, and Elegant Courtier gives off the aura of a studied fighter that is completely in control of their emotions. I am hoping they give us an update to this subclass because the Samurai is a player fantasy that lots of people are just really invested in. If that brings in more complexity or skills him up just a tiny bit power-wise, I'd be happy, but as it stands now, they still get a thumbs up from me. If you want to play a more streamlined fighter class but want something a bit different than the champion, this is the class for you. Fighting Spirit gives just the slightest bit more complexity versus the champion's improved critical, for instance. I don't have to describe in detail what flavor a samurai is, I think we all know already, and from a mechanics standpoint, it supports that class fantasy. Play this if you just want to play a samurai. Actually, if you've ever played a samurai fighter and have completely switched over the flavoring, let me know too what you did, because I'm just curious. Here's hoping we get a cool update for the samurai soon. Good job. Echo Knight. Chronomancy. Explorer's Guide to Wildmount gave us this treasured, beloved subclass. It is immensely popular for a reason. It's strong, it's flavorful, it's useful, it's creepy. The Echo Knight truly has it all. This class is all about manifesting echoes, sort of ghosts of unrealized timelines of yourself that aid you in combat. Now, you might look at it and shrug. What's so scary about 1 hit point and an AC that's 14 plus your proficiency bonus? I know. Oh buddy, do I have a whole world of hurt cooking up for you. First up, your echoes provide utility and movement. Your bonus action allows you to swap places with your echo. This is huge. This is a bonus action teleport, usually up to 30 feet away from you. As that is the distance, your echo will Dorito effect dissipate if it ends up any farther than that on your turn. Unsure if the open doorway that has 500 guards hiding on the other side waiting for you? Want to gain high ground but are flanked by those 500 guards at the moment? Throw an echo up there. Want to get down on the dance floor? Just throw an echo down there too. Your echo avatar, when you get this feature, allows you to possess your echo and move up to 1,000 feet away. Fantastic. 1 hit point might not seem like a lot, but if an enemy hits an echo instead of you, that's a ton of damage just soaked up like it never existed. And your shadow murder feature makes that even stronger, allowing you to throw one of your shadows in front of you or a party member, saving them from a staggering blow. They can also hit people. You can soak them up for temp HP, and you get a whole extra echo for your final cap feature. But what I personally love about this class is that it's spooky. It gives the fighter some wonderful magical flavor with a dark edge. Are your echoes in agony, potential ripped from another timeline? Do they know things about you that you don't even know yourself? There's another world where Ashton Kutcher picks up a sword in the Butterfly Effect movie and hangs out with a bunch of other semi-transparent Ashton Kutchers, and it's just a better movie. More spooky classes like this, please, please. Oh, and a side note for the spooky subclass fans, Wizards of the Coast was nice enough to send me a physical copy of Ravenloft: The Horrors Within. So that means I can take a look at the new spooky stuff anytime I want in the real world. I really appreciate you guys asking about this stuff, and now I'll be able to reference it all super quick when making videos for you. Thanks, Wizards of the Coast. Play the Echo Knight if you, like me, are very enlightened and love chronomancy. Champions, summon your legends. Summon your whatever. I hate League of Legends. Screw you, League of Legends. You're never gonna be D&D. Pursue excellence in combat. While in my opinion, Battlemaster embodies the spirit of the fighter class the most, the champion to me is the absolute best, cannot be beaten starter subclass. It is streamlined, it is simple to understand, and each feature is useful and used. This is the subclass for D&D babies, but make no mistake, there are some aspects to the champion that are not to be trifled with. So like gives a D&D baby a bazooka. And yes, for those that know, I'm talking of course about the level 10 feature Heroic Warrior. Heroic inspiration in combat whenever you start your turn without it. Yes, you heard that right. Your turn. Not once per day, not once per long rest, not once per short rest, per turn. A free reroll is just fantastic. This subclass has enough simplicity that its weak spots, mainly not having as impressively complex feats as say the Eldritch Knight or the Battlemaster, can be patched up with other feats and items. But what about the flavor? Champions are all about glory, be it in the arena or the battlefield. To me, a champion has that great base fantasy of a hero that many other fighter subclasses have, perhaps even the most out of all of them. Those heroes on the covers of all those classic 80s sword and sorcery movies, or the knight that stands against all odds. This is your champion. If you've ever played a barbarian, I think this is a great subclass that can scratch that itch a bit. A fantastic, neatly packaged subclass that may not necessarily hit its peak stride until perhaps a little too late, but a cool subclass nonetheless. Neat. Unfortunately, our next subclass isn't so neat. Arcane Archer. Deploy magical effects through enchanted ammunition. Oh god, wow. Oh, this one is gonna break my heart. I absolutely adore the flavor of Arcane Archer. What a cool concept. While there are plenty of magical sword, knife-wielding flavored subclasses, the Arcane Archer builds this really cool idea of shooting an arrow that you also infuse with ancient elven magic. The flavor text around this subclass suggests ancient elven archers that watched over their lands. So cool. Something that a lot of people would be interested in. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, Arcane Archer just isn't as powerful as the other subclasses. Now, that doesn't mean much if you don't want it to, but I am personally hoping for an update and oh, who could this be? Oh, never mind, it's you. Or, me. Future me. Hello, past E. What did you just call me? Oh, that's just what we call people who are in the past. Excuse me? I'll have you know that it is I'm here to tell you that there's an unearthed arcana arcane archer that I personally believe really beefs up the subclass. Things like a completely new feature of magical ammunition and a healthy recharge on a short rest not only make this class viable, but give you cool things to do that can help with combat but also exploration, such as unlocking shot or vine shot. So if you liked the feel of this class before, make sure to unearth the unearthed arcana. I know this isn't always the MO for this channel to point you to class options that are still in flight, but in this case, I think it's worth it. Play this class if you want to have some magical abilities with your fighter, but with a slight druid flavor versus the Eldritch Knight's wizard leanings, which I already know we'll get to later in this video because I've already lived it, because I'm from the future, which is cooler. Anyways, I've got timelines to mess up, so I'm out of here. Back to me. Oh, huh. Well, I guess that's that. Psi Warrior. Augment physical might with psionic power. Do you want fighter? Do you want fighter but more things? Do you want not more physical stuff? but also not magic. Okay, so before everyone leaps into the comments and starts arguing about what psionics actually are, I recognize that, no, Mr. Beast emailed me about this last week. I'm fostering an audience that's way too kind, so feel free to argue about it in the comments. Yeah, get in a good slap fight. Just don't hit each other too hard. Anyways, if you're selecting a fighter subclass, the Psi Warrior lies at a fantastic intersection of extra flavor but also accessibility. This is because they harness psionic power. If you want a Willower's definition of what that is, it's kind of like you make your own private weave, the fabric which all magic comes from in the D&D world, to sort of affect the world around you. Oftentimes I see people likening Psi Warriors to Force users from Star Wars. And yeah, telekinesis, leaping large distances that your level 7 telekinetic adept gives you, being able to resist the dark forces with your level 10 guarded mind feature gives you. These are all things that make the most D&D tubers use Star Wars clips as B-roll in the Psi Warriors section there is. Telekinetic movement does not have a weight restriction, making it a fantastic way to make your DM very, very sad, because it can really be abused. But features like Protective Field and Bulwark of Force allow you to protect your party as well. Wish the Youngling said something like, why did I write that? Wish the Youngling said something like that, right? Oh my god. I think this is a really great subclass to pick because I can't believe I fucking wrote that. Oh. I think this is a really great subclass to pick because while it provides all these cool options in combat, it's very caged in regarding what flavor these cool options are. While some might feel overwhelmed with the spell list for Eldritch Knight, the Psi Warrior is confident in its flavor. This is a delightful subclass to play. Play this if you like Star Wars or just want to have a ton of usefulness for your party in and out of combat. Eldritch Knight. Support combat skills with arcane magic. Am I the only one that feels these little flavor stingers for the spider subclasses are really obvious? Doctor, maintain the health of your patients. Banker, work at a bank. Anyways, the Eldritch Knight is a really great fighter class for those that want the traditional whack-a-mole feel of hitting, but they don't quite want to give up spellcasting. This is because, right out of the gate, you get spellcasting. Spellcasting, the ability to cast spells. Ooh, ah. Your Eldritch Knight is now able to dip into the wizard class's spell list. It's from this very feature that the entire subclass starts to stack and build around. A magical knight is a pretty solid player fantasy, so it can have a lot of different flavors and avenues. Another neat feature is War Bond. You make a magical friendship bracelet between you and your favorite pointy object, and basically can throw him around and summon it back into your hand with a bonus action. You can imagine how well this pairs with certain weapons. However, before dipping yourself completely into a spear-throwing fantasy, I'd encourage you to look at all weapons for Eldritch Knight. It's a class that is fantastic to deal out damage, so don't feel like you need to pass up a greatsword just to enjoy that feature. You get two anyway, so it's just not a big deal. I'm just telling you to keep your options open. For example, I was in a campaign with a particularly tricksy Eldritch Knight that would leave one of his bonded weapons back at camp and would summon it whenever we were in a situation that our weapons had to be taken from us, like a fancy party or jail. But obviously, your main course here is the ability to cast spells that help your weapon strikes and defenses. Features like War Magic, later improved, and Eldritch Strike are all building on that really solid foundation of dealing both non-magical and magical damage. That, paired with a delicious teleport at level 15, makes this one of the most popular picks for fighter for a reason. And because this subclass has 1 foot in martial and 1 foot in caster, it's a great subclass to explore the wonderful, pedantic world of builds. Builds. There are so many different creative ways people have built their knights, and it's a subclass that rewards you for having curiosity about how multiclassing, general feats, and all that jazz can work together. So play this subclass if you want to start dipping your toes into stretching out what D&D is capable of combat-wise, and if you're jealous of the wizard. Rune Knight. You're really big. Head on over to Tasha's Cauldron of Everything to get a closer look at this subclass. People feel strongly about this subclass. Flavor-wise, this is a really neat class. This is probably because you mostly get to be tall. This is something that I am not jealous of. A good shorthand of how to think about the Rune Knight is similar to how a lot of the other classes have elemental subclasses. You know, the ones that give you
water, earth, fire, air.
How most of those subclasses are built for those that like to have more of a Swiss Army knife toolkit that they can swap out for different situations. However, Rune Knights also handshake a tiny bit with Artificers because they infuse these different runes into objects, increasing the amount of objects you can empower as you level up and get taller. The Rune Knight is similar to that vibe, except you get your abilities from the way ancient giants used to infuse things with power, by carving into stuff. Unlike the Artificer, you must be wearing these items for the runes to actually work, work, which makes sense because we can't take any more from our sweet artificers. They've already been hurt enough. But there are some pretty handy ones in there. For example, the Cloud Rune allows you to redirect damage, or the Storm Rune, which gives you the ever useful reaction to cause a roll to have advantage or disadvantage. And outside of your runes, your features are really cool too. Giant's Might allows you to height max right away, and Runic Juggernaut lets you become huge. Literally huge, like you're up there, wow! Which is also super exciting. Play this if you enjoy customizing mechs or being really tall. Battlemaster. Master sophisticated battle maneuvers. You go and save the best for last. Battlemaster's one of the coolest fighter subclasses. Flavor-wise, Battlemasters are those 10,000 hours of practice experts of the D&D world. They look at combat as something to be studied, respected. They are the tacticians with features like Know Your Enemy, which can be incredibly useful for the entire party in combat. I see Battlemasters usually as very confident in combat. It is a very, once again, heroic subclass. Take a gander here at all the information about the features of the subclass. And of course, if one should spend a superiority die for their bonus action, they may also perform a goading attack. And of course, if one should spend a superiority die for their bonus action, they may perform a lunging attack. But one may only perform a goading attack if one has already hit the It's all a bit intimidating, right? For a class that has the reputation of being one of the more simple ones, this subclass sure doesn't seem like it. While you can fit the champion fighter onto a business card, it feels like the Battlemaster should be printed on the Las Vegas sphere. But I'll give you a little secret, so listen close. If you have ever felt bored during combat, I want you to try out the Battlemaster. At least give it a one-shot worth of a chance. The meat of this subclass is through the maneuver options, which you gain access to a few right away. These are cool things you can do that enhance your basic attacks, anything from disarming your foe to even giving an ally a temp hit point. So don't be super scared of this subclass, as right out the gate, that big old list is actually a lot smaller than you think. Battlemaster is absolutely not a fire and forget type subclass though. This is because the maneuver options don't just pump out more damage, even though they certainly can, they can actually really turn the tide of combat. Commander's Strike, for example, lets someone else in your party attack on your turn as their reaction, or even the Menacing Attack, which can apply the Frightened condition. Take this subclass if you're willing to dip your toes into the more fulfilling combat side of D&D, but are also willing to stretch your brain around tactics a little more. Great subclass. It gets 40,000 gold stars. So you've picked a fighter subclass. But Willow, you say, where's my free thing? You usually give me a free thing. And there's a little story, a little sordid or spooky tale. Where is it? Well, okay. Let's take a listen to the old chronograph and see what I've cooked up for y'all. I cannot conceive of it. A world where victory is not wrapped around me like a blanket. These are the last recorded words of the last man to wield these two objects. We've been very careful to store them in an environment where they won't be activated. As with so many different items in our vault, they are a pair. Though their properties are vastly different, we have noticed that they play together well, so to speak. So to speak. I'm sorry, but I cannot follow this script. This is an abomination. The amount of lives, the souls streaked across this blade and this shield, this isn't right. We can't keep cataloging these things like something to be observed without emotion. What was that? Hold on. Chronomancer Law, can we please confirm that there's no exposed blood in the observing room? Truly. Fine. Just let me get this over with. The blade and shield both have evidence of enchantment. They did not start out this way. They didn't start out with a hunger. The benefits that they provide during battle are not something that our battlesmiths or forge masters have been able to replicate, which I suppose, perhaps off the record, is a good thing because oh, stars. They're moving. Let me out. Please, unlock the door right now. No, damn protocol, please. Can't you see they're moving? You have to let me out. And hey, we did it. You Me and the big guys with little problems. And as thanks for sticking around for this video, I've made a free item just for you. Check out the beautiful shield for all your sword and board builds. And for my lovely patrons, I've also crafted a blade. Look at it, ooh, ah. I hope you like the callback to my older fighter video, which also has a free triumphant hunger themed item if you're interested. If you like this video, consider liking or subscribing, all that jazz. And if you know of anyone else that's looking to pick a subclass or even thinking of a different class altogether, check out my other videos. Go on! Sometimes I punch my fist too soon. Sometimes I fly around the moon. I see the fighter in your eyes. How did he get so small in size? He's stuck in your eyes. Oh my god, that must be so painful for... Yes! It's me! Face reveal! It's a face reveal! Anyways, guys, remember, I hope everybody's really nice about my face reveal. I'm a little worried. You guys aren't here for me in the 4D space. You're here for me in 4D? No, that's time. Fuck!